What are some of the biggest challenges for trademark owners regarding different media channels that companies should keep in mind?
I think it's important for them to really plan ahead with their brands. So at the outset, when they're developing their brands, they need to have a clear understanding of how it will appear in the different media channels. People are often doing business now on phones, iPads, through mobile applications, different social media platforms, so that a company needs to have a clear understanding of how their brand will appear in these different formats so they can put in the appropriate protection, because they may use slightly different branding and logo types in a Facebook application or on Twitter where they might on a general website. So I think that the need is to plan ahead to make sure all these different things are covered.
The media landscape is changing. How would you describe the current trademark protection scene compared to, for instance, what it was like 10 years back?
I think it's far more competitive now. There's much better access for smaller companies to IP protection of different sorts. So I think in terms of clearing a brand for use, there are greater risks, so there's much more searching needed. It's a little more complicated than just looking up on the trademark register. So there's a need to search across these different formats to see what brands are in use, what brands are registered, to make sure a company can genuinely distinguish their brand and have something new that they can protect.
There's clearly more work, I understand, but is it actually more difficult or easier in the current landscape to achieve protection?
I think it can be easier. There is much quicker access. The trademark registries are improving, managing cases well. There's a little bit more consistency. So it can be easier with good guidance and a clear understanding from the start. I think it is more difficult to predict just how your brand will be used over the next 3 to 5 years, because things are changing so quickly with different social media platforms. So there is a degree of difficulty that's difficult for companies to understand and handle.
Talking about the future, how do you see things developing from now on? Are you optimistic or pessimistic regarding the abilities of companies to actually do things properly, so to say?
I'm optimistic. I think there is a much greater understanding now. Companies are much more aware of the power of their brands, the need not just for what we would call a standard trademark or logo, but to have this greater understanding of what their brand means, what it means to the public, and protecting ideas around that to really identify their company and their products through their branding.